Hello, welcome to Scalemodeling, and welcome to part 7 of our 1/200 scale Yamato build from Trumpeter. This is the monochrome version, which is the same as the Glow 2B and Gallery, it's just different distributors. If you're just tuning into this video for the first time, please go in and have a look at the playlist. Go to the first video, you'll see the unboxing of this kit and all that's included. Go through in detail of all your sprues, all your instructions, and all the photo etch. And of course, starting from part 1, but we're into part 7 now. So welcome back, everybody, and welcome to anybody new. I've noticed a lot of new subscribers joining the channel. That's great to see, and welcome aboard. So let's have a look at what we're at. So in the last video, we've got this photo etch all done here. It's all completed and stuck down, and come up really well. What I'm doing now is just looking at putting on this forecastle deck, all right, or forecastle deck, however you want to call it, on the front, on the bow. Now, this is also going to be the ship's IJN grey, so I want to put this on because I can paint this along with everything else at the same time. And what I've done is I've done a test fit. So what I did was I put this on at the front. I know it's right down, it's hard to see. Actually, I'll turn the ship around, not boat. I'll turn the ship around and we'll have a better look. We're back in a sec. Okay, so there's a better view. So as you can see, when this is positioned, it fits absolutely perfectly, really well, all the way around the front here. There's no gaps. It's fine. There's a part that goes on the front that'll sit in there. I've checked that and it's going to be fine. The only thing is that there's a little bit of a just a tiny little pressure needed to put there, just to get it in the right, up against the side there, so it'll just be the right fit. Just the smallest amount. It's just where the sides have just bowed out a little bit, just a tad. Now, what I wanted to do was to make sure that I can actually glue this on and still have our huge main deck fit in without a problem, which I just so happened to have here, and I already did test fit, but let's put it back on. There we go. So that's sitting in the back there. This, when it's glued in place like that, this front of the deck here will join onto there. Absolutely perfect. I'm amazed. It's something this size. There's no gap. It's perfect in there and down on the stern. Fits in there nice and snug. And all the way up the sides here. It's almost like the only thing I'm going to have to do is put a bit of weight down on it while it's gluing, but other than that, it's a perfect fit all the way along the sides, everything. So hopefully your Yamato will be just as good as that. So knowing that that's going to go in so well, I can attach this. This can be completely worked on separately because this needs the wooden deck. It also needs holes drilled. We've got superstructure to go on here. Lots of stuff that can be done on this completely separate from this. Okay. As far as I know, this whole deck is all going to be deck, not grey. It's all wooden deck, so I don't have to paint any of this at all. Of course, around here these will have to be done, but we'll get to that. That's quite a while off. All right, so this, let me just get repositioned here, and we'll look at what we're going to be doing now. Back in a sec. Okay, so now there's a few things that can go on here. All this area is going to be painted the same grey as the rest of the ship. If we have a look at the instructions, so the instructions have, we've got a few bits and pieces that need to go on, a couple of bits of photo etch. Obviously the front with the chrysanthemum goes on there. That I will attach once that's glued on. That is, after it's glued on, that'll go down. There's a few other bits and pieces that need to go on, but what I find too is that if you go forward through the instructions further, now that was step 25, moving on to step as far as 30, you'll see there's another couple of little pieces here that go on, and then further on, yeah, so we're going as far as step 38 now, where there's another structure there going on, although that's joining between the two decks, so that may not have to go on. The chain will go on last, of course. We've got a black chain for that. So that's about it for that. Also on the stern, there's some more parts that we can put on there as well. So what you really need to do is go through, see, even step 29 there, we've got some boxes to go down all along the side, all on here. These are what we drilled the holes for. So you really need to go through the instructions right to the end and find all the bits that need to go on there, because it's going to be much easier to spray them all on there rather than doing it after, because if I spray that all grey now, then I've got all these individual pieces that need doing, which I could have already had on there when I sprayed, if you know what I mean. Okay, so let's have a look at the, I'll just rearrange the camera so we can have a better look down on here. Be back in a sec. Okay, so as you can see, there's some really good reference photos in the anatomy of a ship. So you can look at more detail of the parts going on. And what you might notice here is the colour. We've got sort of a lighter grey down on this metal part of the deck. But that's not what the instructions say for the Yamato. They've got it the same as the deck on the stern, so we're going to stick with that. Even on this shots here, they have this a lighter colour, but I don't know how accurate that is. Well, actually, that's the Masushi there, so that's probably why I'm thinking that's looking like that. Yamato. Well, that's completely, they're showing the weathered deck with all the soot on it there. And the Yamato, they're still showing that as a lighter metal, but we're going to stay with the normal, with the IJN grey. All right. Because if you look at our instructions for the painting, yeah, it's pretty much saying H18, which is the grey that we need, pretty much. Yeah, I'm just going to check this, make sure. 1828 is 1828. Oh, that's right. They're just showing the steel. Actually, they're showing the anchor chain steel rather than the deck on that picture. Yeah, it's quite interesting. They don't actually tell you what color that is, but it's the same. It's the same as the rest of the ship, so that'll be fine. All right. So what we're at now is we're up to step 25. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some bits off the sprue, glue some parts down before I actually glue that down. It'll just be easy to work on it separately like this. So yeah, let's get some sprues, and hopefully we've got these ones already washed. Sprue L and B is what we need. So yeah, I'll be back in a sec and we'll get these parts off. Okay, welcome back. So I was going to glue all these parts on while it was off the ship, but realized I can't really do that. These little pieces here can be glued on, no problem. They'll go on there. There's 2 on each side. These here, which are called cleats, they're quite unusual compared to other ships that I've built in the past. There's locating spots for them, but they actually hang slightly over the edge of the ship and are up against the hull as well. There's like a bit of a lip there that sits up against on there as well, which means I've got to put them on after this is glued. The photo etch, there's 2 pieces that will sit in there, no problem, we'll be able to do that. I've just trimmed off, sanded the edges, make sure that they're clean and they fit on top of there perfectly. And then we've got this part which mounts the actual chrysanthemum on the front. I did quickly do a test fit, beautiful, no problem. I took all the connecting sprues off, sanded it, got it looking nice and smooth. So again, that's something we'll go on after this is glued. Which means I'll attach these now and then I'll glue it on, hey? All right. I'll probably put the photo, it doesn't matter when I put it on, but yeah, we'll get this thing glued on. Okay, I'll be back when that's done. Back shortly. Okay, so there it is, all weighted down and clamped. Beautiful fit, no problem at all. I'm just going to leave that. I've just done that with some extra thin around, and I'm going to leave that for a good hour, make sure that's fine. In the meantime, I've washed the sprue for the G parts, and I'm going to take those parts off and add them to here so that they're ready to put on as soon as I can remove all of that. All right, we'll come back when all this is out of the way and those parts are on. Okay, cheers, back shortly. Hey, welcome back everybody. So I've just got these parts here. They're all done, a little bit of photo etch on the top of that. And then we've got 2 little pieces that go into there. And I'm just going to glue them in now. It'll take a second. This, that one. And this will be all we need to put on this forecastle deck, I think. Pretty sure there's nothing else. There we go. There's the couple of little cleats, I think they call them, that they tie the ropes off on. Like I said, that's why we had to put this on first before these would fit, because they sort of sit over the edge like that. It's unusual, but yeah, that's how that goes on. So we've got one on each side there, and of course right on the bow we've got the section that holds the chrysanthemum emblem, and I've test fitted this and it really fits quite amazing actually. When you sit that in there where it's got to go, it's perfect. There's no tidy up needed, nothing. So I'm really happy the way that whole front bow section's gone together. Yeah, so like I said, I'm just gonna finish up placing that in. All right, and I'll do these 2. Now that completes everything on this that we need to do before painting, as far as I can tell. So what the instructions we'll have us do is moving down to the stern end where we had all the photo etch. I think there's a few bits of plastic that needs to go on top on there that can be sprayed in place So I'll finish this up, turn the boat around, ship, not boat, turn the ship around and have a look at what's going on the stern deck area there. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, so here we are at the stern, and just looking at what we're going to put on in place here. And now just a thing I wanted to note, just as a reminder, the reason why I haven't done anything with this center deck is because I have a wood deck to put on it. And if you're building this ship and you're just going to paint the deck, that's different. You know, you could probably start putting on some of the parts for this, because I just moved that out of the way and we go to the instructions here. You'll see that even though we've done step 25 now, there are other parts that go up on that wood deck area that I'm not putting on, because I'm doing that as a completely separate piece. All right, because of the wood deck that needs to be put down. So, I mean, if you're going to paint this, then again, all these individual parts would probably be better off painting them all separately. Otherwise, you're going to do some pretty heavy-duty masking. It's probably not going to work. But each to their own how they do it. So just saying that, you know, this is my way of doing this and it's working out for me so far. So what I'm going to show you now is just moving on to step 26 now, where we're at the stern here, and we basically put in that similar piece that we put right up on the bow, along with another one of the cleats. There's one on each side, and these bollards also get placed down here, which you can't see now because I moved it. So yeah, just a few bits and pieces on here, and then we can move down. See, the step 27 takes you further down, putting more bollards and cleats down through this deck area, but that's something I'll be coming back to doing later. And then over the page we go on, and then at 29, for example, there's some boxes and stuff to go down on the deck, quite a few there. So it goes on, and they can be all put down because, again, they're all the same IJN grey. All right, and talking about paint, good news is my paint will be arriving hopefully tomorrow. It's in the post, and tracking say it's due to come tomorrow, so looking forward to getting hold of that. But in the meantime, we've still got plenty of work to be done. So all right, I have to get the Q sprue out for these parts, and some of the other sprue that we've used already, the L and B sprue for the stern here. So I'll go ahead, get them off and trimmed up, and then we'll come back when we're putting them on. Okay, we're back in a sec. Hey, welcome back. So I'm just, I'll show you, I'm just putting all these ammunition or containers down. They're used for multiple things, I'm told, from ropes to everything else. So this is all the containers in step 29. But there's something I must have, I don't know how I did it, but these were for where all the holes were drilled for these. Before we put this on, we drilled all the holes in the bottom. Somehow I forgot to drill 4 holes that were there and there, where these boxes are going, there and there. So I don't know how I missed it. I can't look under, it's glued down now. I can't look under to see if there even were holes there or not. I don't know how I possibly missed doing them. So it's too late for me to check now, but just check with your piece to make sure that there's 4 holes here and here for these containers. It's not a problem, because all I've done is I've just cut off the little pins that would go through the holes, and I'll just glue them flat. And I know where the location is, so I'll glue them flat straight on the deck there. But yeah, I don't know if those marks were under there for the holes. I don't know how I missed not drilling them. Yeah. Anyway, so I've just done these ones. I'm going to do these ones here. And then that will be the end of step 29. And we'll move on from there. Okay, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, welcome back again. So I've put on the last of all the pieces that need going on here that I don't want to have to spray separately. Okay, so this piece here went on, so that's fine. That'll all go. It'll all be grey. I've put a couple of bits in here that have gone on, so that's all going to be grey. It's no problem at all. There's a couple of pieces on here as well. Now there are platforms for guns and so forth, but I'm happy to paint them separately. So I'll be doing that. But what I have discovered, and we'll just grab the instructions out again, is I'm now going to do all the railings on here. All right, so this I'm skipping right ahead to step 109, because if I put the railings all on this stern, all on this deck and all around here, then I can spray them all grey. Normally when I build ships, the decks are usually a different colour. They're a darker grey, or they're just a different colour, and the railings I have to do separately and put them on right at the end of the build and paint them all individually, like on their own. But because this is all grey, all the Japanese Navy grey, I figure, well, I don't need to. I can just put them all straight on here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the photo etch. It's all on the G sprue and the some of the F sprue, I think there's some there, and go along and put all of the railings on that only account for this area here. This part, we can do that separately. I'm not going to knock them off, and I'll be careful because I've got all this area here to handle the ship around when I'm painting, and if I turn it upside down I can put some spaces in here. Even if I was to use for example these that came with the kit, you know, that they'll leave clearance there so nothing will get damaged when the ship's upside down. Okay, so let's get started on the railings for all this on the stern of the ship. But before that, I want to show you something that came in the mail. So let me make some space here, and we'll be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So as you can see, paint arrived. I'm very happy. Came a little bit earlier than expected. And well, here it is. So we've got our Outlaw paints, which are based here in Australia. It's both Jason and Braden looking after the business there, and they've put together a special mix of the paints required for our Yamato. So Outlaw paints, I will put the link in the description below if you're interested, and go there, have a look at the website. You can join up there, you can order. Now these paint I'm about to show you will not be available until the end of January. Okay, so from the 1st of February on, anyone can buy these wherever you are in the world, no problem. These colors have been mixed up specifically for this build. So when we're looking at our paint reference color guide here, we have Mr. Hobby, we have Vallejo, Model Master, Tamiya, and Humbrol. Okay, the main color is the Imperial Japanese Grey, which is here, and this, which shake up, is looking really, really nice. This is as close as they could possibly get to the original color that you want. Now, if you were to go to Tamiya and use one of these others, you'll find that depending on the brand, there'd be slight differences. But with this is as close to the original as you can get. Okay, now this is a acrylic lacquer, 30ml bottles here. There's no thinning. These are used straight from the bottle and airbrushed on. Fantastic paint, fantastic paint. This one, obviously, a bottle this size won't do me, which is why I've got an extra 100 mils here. That will see me out for our Imperial Japanese Grey for the entire build. Happy with that. We also have the Hull Red, which in this kit is not actually called Hull Red, it's called Coca Brown. And again, they give you all the different corresponding numbers by the brands, except for Model Master. They don't have one for it. But you've got Mr. Hobby, Vallejo, and all the rest. Whereas we've gone and we've made up the Cocoa Brown, which will be the Hull Red. And this is the Imperial Japanese Hull Red. And that's going to look fantastic. Once again, a bit extra doesn't hurt. I'm certainly not going to run out. Now that's what we'll be painting this with. Again, this stuff sprays straight on. There's no thinning. It's straight from the bottle. Shake her up and spray it out. Fantastic. Now also I have my grey primer. The Outlaw Paints grey primer is just fantastic. All right, look, I can't speak for the colors at this stage because I haven't used the colors yet, but I'm very confident that they're going to be amazing if the primers are anything to go by. So this grey primer, I've used this on my last build, and it's incredible. Again, it's straight out of the bottle. There's no thinning. You run it through your airbrush and it goes on so well. There is so much pigments in this. This has got more pigments than any other brand of paint. And I used to use Vallejo for a while, and I used Tamiya primers, and I used Mr. Surfacer. All right, now Mr. Surfacer has its place because there are 1500, 1000, there are different levels of Mr. Surfacer, but for an overall beautiful finish that looks like it's just the natural color of the plastic, this is the way to go. This stuff just sprays on beautifully and looks fantastic, and it just provides a perfect surface for your paint colors to stick to. I won't go back to anything else. This is my go-to for primers now. We also have the Outlaw Paints Black Primer. Black Primer will be used quite extensively on this build, particularly on all of the superstructure, the turrets, the machine guns, the AA, AAA guns, all those things will all be done in black primer, because as you'll see throughout the build, and I used this primer on my 1700 build Yamato, this will bring out the depth and detail and shadow areas in your build, particularly around the superstructure and the guns and everything else. Black primer is the way to go for that. Yeah, and exactly the same as the grey, sprayed the same way. Definitely give it a go. Fantastic. This stuff, the primers are available now. You can order those now, no problem. These had to be specially custom mixed, and they will be a regular available product at the end of the month from the 1st of February. Okay. All right. So again, look in the description. There's a link there to outlawpaints.com.au, and you can jump in there. If you've got any questions, there's all the information about the paints, there's all the varieties, or everything on the website, and you can also email the both Jason or Braden, and if you have any questions or anything more detail you want to know, particularly about getting these, I'm sure you could probably pre-order between now and then. But yeah, fantastic paints. All right, so that's it. I won't be doing any painting on here for a bit because I've got to do the railings. So, but what I will probably have a go at is using some of the hull red, which I'm going to call it that, even though it's called cocoa brown, hull red on the struts that hold the propeller shafts, the screw shafts. Yeah, because they're going to be painted separately from the hull that I need to do, mainly because there's areas underneath that would be difficult to get to if they were attached to the ship. All right, so there you go, Outlaw Paints. Check them out, check out their website, and the link's in description. And I'm going to get back to doing the photo etch, and yeah, all good. All right, back shortly. Okay, welcome back. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a few tips when it comes to doing photo etch, especially railings. All right. So a few things is make sure you have a very sharp blade. Okay. And to take them off, because the closer you get to the piece you're taking off, and the less metal you leave on the piece, the easier it is later when you've got to clean it up. When I say cleaning up, I mean, here's a piece here. This is piece number 20. There's two of them. They'll go right on the stern here, one on each side. Now, if I run my finger very carefully across there, I'll feel where I cut it off from the rest of the piece there. All right. So what you do is I use a 240 sanding stick, should be enough, and just lightly, hardly put any pressure on it at all. Just run it lengthwise along your piece of photo etch, and it's gone. Okay, same with the other side. There it is there. You can just feel it where it is. Just slowly run your thing. You'll know when you've got it because it'll just run smoother. That's it there. That's all it takes. Another thing when you're doing this, don't go crossways. Run with the length of your photo etch because you've got less chance of bending it. If you start doing this and it catches, it's going to bend your piece. So always go lengthwise. The ends as well, just a tiny little touch. Yeah, I'm hardly using any pressure at all, just the weight of the sanding stick, and that's gone. And same on the other end. Those are the 4 attachment points. Done. That one's ready to go. Now, because this section on the bow here, just move that down a little bit better. Okay, there's a bend in that, right? And it actually tells you in the instructions to bend, but of course you've just got to do that the best you can. So what I do is I get something round. These are actually little pieces from Icky Sticky for applying glue. I just cut the end off. There it was there. And it's a rounded piece. You can use a pen or even an old needle from an airbrush. They work as well. So what you do is using this, and this is, I mentioned this in a video or two earlier, these come in the packing of this ship for the hull, and there's one at each end, these sheets of foam. They're a nice solid piece of foam, and they're not too solid that you can't create curves on pieces. Another thing I mentioned here, use a solid piece of tile when you're removing photo etch off the fret. Again, less chance of it bending while you're cutting it off. Yeah, so for instance, this, all you do is just very lightly just run that along like that. And it's already put a curve in it. And it's just a matter of trial and error. So you just want to pick it up, your tweezers, take it over and put it where it's going to go. And hopefully you'll get it exactly how you want. Now this one needs the slightest little bit more curve. So in the center. So I just do 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be the difference I need. Bring this up, put it on here. There you go. All right, I don't even know how I managed to stand that there. There's no glue or anything, but that's exactly what we want, and it's the perfect shape. Okay. Now, for gluing this down, there's plenty of different options. You can use CA glue, but with CA glue, I find it dries quite brittle, and you might find that months later, the things sprung loose, come off, or maybe not so much in this sort of size ship, but if you're handling your models often, just moving the hull and moving parts can cause them to come loose. So what I use, and I use this, you know I use this all the time, is the MIG Ultra Glue. All right, I know I keep shouting it out. I'm not getting anything for sales for this or anything, although I should be. It's great stuff. And once again, I'll water it down and I'll put it in a little plastic container like this. There it is there. It's all watered down from when I applied it underneath the sheet photo etch here. And yeah, it's ready to go. So pretty much what I would do is get another one of these little brushes. I'll be back in a sec. I'll just grab one. Okay, so these are the micro brush applicators. These are 1.2 millimeter. There's a whole range of different sizes from Icky Sticky, ickysticky.com. I'll also put a link down there in the description to go and have a look at all their stuff. All right, so there it is. This is what I used as, this is the rolling pin, but this is what I used to apply. It's got a tiny little like a cotton bud, but it doesn't fray or anything, leave any cotton behind. It's perfect for this. So what I would do is just touch it in there and run it along the bottom of your rail. So for instance, I'm not going to do it right now because it's a little bit awkward, but so you would simply run that just along the bottom of the rail, make a consistency. That's probably a little bit too thin. Okay, I've got another lot here that I made that's a bit thicker. I'd probably do that because you want it so that you can see it on there. It leaves a small layer along the bottom of your rail. And then it's just a matter of turning it around and putting it in position that you already know is fit because you've already tested it. Trying not to drop it here. There you go. It's something you just got to take your time with and you'll get a great result. The best thing about this glue is that it'll dry completely clear and it won't be brittle. It'll be soft. So even after it's dried, you'll be able to put your finger on top of this rail and you might be able to move it just a little bit, but it's not going to fall off. It's not going to come off, but there's that flexibility in there. So it's really good stuff. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. I won't do them all, but I'll get some of them done and we'll come back and see how the progress is going. I did notice that there will be some railings that need to go around here, but there are some platforms that need to go on that actually stick out off the deck here. And I need those to line up where the railing starts and finishes. So I may have to actually just cut them off the sprue, position them just to get the right positioning for the railing to go on there. Otherwise, yeah, we'll get on with doing some of this. Okay, so there's a bit of help with a bit of photo etch. Just take your time with it, and it should come out no problems. All right, and the reason I'm doing this now is because when I spray this grey, it's all going to get sprayed at the same time, undercoated, primed, and then our base IG and grey will go over the top. I don't have to worry about fiddling later, individually spraying railings and other bits. Okay, enough talk. We'll get back into this. We'll come back and have a look at a bit more progress in a sec. Cheers. Okay, welcome back. So I've managed to get railings on around here and all the way around here. Now I'm just working on these on here now, but as you'll see, I've had to put these platforms on here on either side because the railings actually go up against that and around, and I wouldn't be able to locate the right position without doing that first. So there's also a bit of photo etch on the underside of those as well. So there, actually that's pretty much right now. I had these little weights on them to keep them down, so they're good. So yeah, so I've just managed to curve that piece in there and stick it in. I've got the other part down here to do this side. And then we've just got a railing to run up along here. And there's another one of these platforms, which is a gun mount of sorts, that needs to go here. I may have to position that as well, just so I can get the location of this railing. Although I'm just checking the instructions, it does seem that it goes all the way around on here, so this platform shouldn't interfere, and it should be okay, yeah. But that'll be the next railing. Other than that, when I come back, we'll have all those railings finished, and I'm pretty sure that's it for this deck. This is in priming, spraying position now, finally. All right, I'll be back soon. Okay, welcome back everybody. So I've finished all the areas that need parts on before painting. All the railings are done. There's a couple of railings that I haven't put on deliberately because they extend over to the main deck, which we haven't put on yet. So there's like the extensions on here which will go up even though they overlap. So these ones will be sprayed separately. And same with up on the forecastle deck on the bow. There's one section of railing that goes around the front, and I'll put some photos up as best way to have a look at them. And just get one photo up there, hang on a sec. So in that first photo you can see the railings on the bow there. Also there's those two little pieces that go in between where the cutouts are in the railings and the gaps there. I've put them on as well. They're best to go on after the railing so you know exactly where that position is for those. And then in the next picture we're looking at this rear deck here, down where the hangar area is. We've got the railings all the way around the side, and all the other little bits and pieces that I could put on there that are all quite fine to be sprayed the IJ in grey. In the next picture we look up here a bit further, and you can see I put the railings around the side. All that grating is in. Obviously we've done all the tracks, and yeah, all the boxes are on there. Yeah, next picture looks back a bit so you can see all that area is done. So it's literally ready for paint now. So as you know, in the video I showed you earlier, the Outlaw paints arrived. Once again, click the link in the description below if you're interested in ordering them. they'll be available probably not long after you're viewing this video, definitely by the end of the month, in the 1st of February. All right, so yeah, I'm going to call the video here. We'll be definitely doing some airbrushing and getting this primed up in the next video. I can pretty much guarantee that. Along with some other little parts, all those davits that we took off, I'll be painting all them separately, mainly because they stand off on the edge of the hull here, and it'd be a bit tricky getting behind there properly. So I'm going to paint them and put them on separately. Yeah, so looking forward to seeing you all in the next video. Please, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the notifications bell so you get notified every time the videos come out and you won't miss anything. And if you have the opportunity on your social media, you can always click the share button, share this out to others. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that you might know that'd be interested in watching this, Facebook groups or whatever. That'd be fantastic. And of course, give us a thumbs up too, because thumbs up are good for the algorithms, and your comments are welcome below. I've had some fantastic comments, lots of hints and tips and suggestions that I've taken on board. Really, really helpful. And I know that there's quite a few of you also building this model along with me as well. So hopefully I can answer any questions. If you have anything that I haven't covered in the sections, just ask them in the comments, and I'll let you know from what I know. And yeah, all's good. So thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time, which will be part 8, and we'll get the airbrush out and get some paint on this thing. All right, bye for now. Cheers.